The Wooing of Rebekah by Ginzberg. Attended by 10 men 285, mounted upon 10 camels laden with jewels and trinkets, Eliezer betook himself to Haran under the convoy of 2 angels, the one appointed to keep guard over Eliezer, the other over Rebekah. 286. The journey to Haran took but a few hours. At evening of the same day he reached there. Because the earth hastened to meet him in a wonderful way, he made a halt at the well of water, and he prayed to God to permit him to distinguish the wife appointed for Isaac among the damsels that came to draw water, by this token, that she alone, and not the others, would give him drink. 288. Strictly speaking, this wish of his was unseemly, for suppose a bondwoman had given him water to drink. 289. But God granted his request. All the damsels said they could not give him of their water because they had to take it home. Then appeared Rebekah, coming to the well contrary to her wont, for she was the daughter of a king, Bethuel her father being king of Haran. When Eliezer addressed his request for water to drink to this young innocent child, not only was she ready to do his bidding, but she rebuked the other maidens on account of their discourtesy to a stranger. Eliezer noticed, too, how the water rose up to her of its own accord from the bottom of the well, so that she needed not to exert herself to draw it. Having scrutinized her carefully, he felt certain that she was the wife chosen for Isaac. He gave her a nose ring, wherein was set a precious stone, 1/2 shekel in weight, foreshadowing the 1/2 shekel which her descendants would once bring to the sanctuary year by year. He gave her also 2 bracelets for her hands, of 10 shekels weight in gold, in token of the 2 tables of stone, and the 10 commandments upon them. 291. When Rebekah, bearing the jewels, came to her mother, and to her brother Laban, this one hastened to Eliezer in order to slay him, and take possession of his goods. Laban soon learnt that he would not be able to do much harm to a giant like Eliezer. He met him at the moment when Eliezer seized 2 camels and bore them across the stream. Besides, on account of Eliezer's close resemblance to Abraham, Laban thought he saw Abraham before him, and he said, "Come in, thou blessed of the Lord. It is not becoming that thou shouldst stand without. I have cleansed my house of idols." 293. But when Eliezer arrived at the house of Bethuel, they tried to kill him with cunning. They set poisoned food before him. Luckily, he refused to eat before he had discharged himself of his errand. While he was telling his story, it was ordained by God that the dish intended for him should come to stand in front of Bethuel, who ate of it and died. 294. Eliezer showed the document he had in which Abraham deeded all his possessions to Isaac, and he made it known to the kindred of Abraham, how deeply attached to them his master was, in spite of the long years of separation. 295. Yet he let them know at the same time that Abraham was not dependent wholly upon them. He might seek a wife for his son among the daughters of Ishmael or Lot. At first the kindred of Abraham consented to let Rebekah go with Eliezer, but as Bethuel had died in the meantime, they did not want to give Rebekah in marriage without consulting her. Besides, they deemed it proper that she should remain at home at least during the week of mourning for her father. But Eliezer, seeing the angel wait for him, would brook no delay, and he said, "The man who came with me and prospered my way waits for me without." And as Rebekah professed herself ready to go at once with Eliezer, her mother and brother granted her wish and dismissed her with their blessings. 297. But their blessings did not come from the bottom of their hearts. Indeed, as a rule, the blessing of the impious is a curse, wherefore Rebekah remained barren for years. Eliezer's return to Canaan was as wonderful as his going to Haran had been. A 17 days' journey he accomplished in 3 hours. He left Haran at noon, and he arrived at Hebron. 299 at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, the time for the Minha prayer, which had been introduced by Isaac. He was in the posture of praying when Rebekah first laid eyes upon him, wherefore she asked Eliezer what man this was. She saw he was not an ordinary individual. She noticed the unusual beauty of Isaac, and also that an angel accompanied him. Thus her question was not dictated by mere curiosity. 300 At this moment, she learnt through the Holy Spirit that she was destined to be the mother of the godless Esau. Terror seized her at the knowledge, and trembling, she fell from the camel, and inflicted an injury upon herself. 301. After Isaac had heard the wonderful adventures of Eliezer, he took Rebekah to the tent of his mother Sarah, and she showed herself worthy to be her successor. The cloud appeared again that had been visible over the tent during the life of Sarah, and had vanished at her death. The light shone again in the tent of Rebekah that Sarah had kindled at the coming in of the Sabbath, and that had burnt miraculously throughout the week. The blessing returned with Rebekah that had hovered over the dough kneaded by Sarah, and the gates of the tent were opened for the needy, wide and spacious, as they had been during the lifetime of Sarah. 302. For 3 years Isaac had mourned for his mother, and he could find no consolation in the academy of Shem and Eber. his abiding place during that period. But Rebekah comforted him after his mother's death 303, for she was the counterpart of Sarah in person and in spirit 304. As a reward for having executed to his full satisfaction the mission with which he had charged him, Abraham set his bondman free. The curse resting upon Eliezer, as upon all the descendants of Canaan, was transformed into a blessing, because he ministered unto Abraham loyally 306. Greatest reward of all, God found him worthy of entering paradise alive, a distinction that fell to the lot of very few 307.